Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show. Graham Spud McKay is on the line with me to have a look at the Northern Areas Footy Association. Some interesting results last weekend and some good fixtures tomorrow. How are you, Spud? Good to speak with you again.
Yeah, good, thanks, Dan. A really good weekend of footy and probably, without a doubt, the upset of the season. Before we sort of get onto that, I should mention Will Coombe. From Crystal Brook. He represented the SA country against WA last Sunday and obviously couldn't play club footy on Saturday, but he acquitted himself very, very well and won the Barry Stringer medal for the best SA country player there, so well done to him. He's probably one of the favourites for the male medal this year, a very consistent player, plays good footy week in, week out, so well done to Will.
Absolutely, well done to Will, and he is a name that comes up in your recaps of Crystal Brook's games pretty much every week as one of the best on ground, so no surprise to see him thriving there as Country SA. He got the win over Western Australia. That was great to see, but not so great for his Crystal Brook teammates because in his absence, as you said, one of the upsets, if not the upset of the season, Southern Flinders got over the top of the Brook 6-9-45 to 6-6-42. Looks like it was a great game.
Yeah, very close. I think the oval was quite wet. Now, I don't know that was all through rain, but anyway, I won't say any more about that. But it was certainly a great effort by Southern Flinders to be able to get over the top of Crystal Brook, who had a few out anyway. But their B grade is reasonably strong, and you would expect that they'd be able to cover the loss of those. But Southern Flinders obviously seized on the opportunity, and you go out and beat the side that's put up against you. So well done to Southern Flinders to be able to cause that huge upset, and that will give their coach Scott Brand a fair bit of confidence in going forward, I reckon.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's an interesting scoreline in that game. Southern Flinders by a point, 3-5-23 to 3-4-22 at halftime. And then it was 3 goals to 2 behinds in the third quarter. Crystal Brook took a 16-point lead into the fourth quarter, and then they only managed 1 point in the fourth, while Southern Flinders kicked away. They kicked 3 goals to come back and turn a 16-point deficit into a 3-point lead at the final siren. So a great win there from Southern Flinders, certainly their best of the season. They'll be very, very happy with that one. BMW had a convincing win over Jamestown-Peterborough, 17-15, 117 to 5 goals for 34. Given some of the one-sided results we've seen with Jamestown-Peterborough this year, I reckon they might be on the happier side with that one, at least getting a few goals on the board and keeping the margin under 100 points and even winning the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they finished off the game very well, and they outscored BMW in that last quarter by 2 goals to about 4 there. So, a little bit depleted. Jamestown-Peterborough got a few injuries up the top end there, which doesn't help. And their B grade is performing reasonably well, but I don't think will be quite good enough to make the finals. But they put in a good performance against BMW up there at Burroo last weekend. So, yeah, BMW did what they had to do and got the 2 points and remained top of the premiership table.
Convincing win by BMW, like you said, did what they needed to do, but good on Jamestown-Peterborough for putting some goals on the board and showing a bit of fight there on the road in the fourth quarter. Last game of the round was, by the looks of things, I'm not sure if it was windy conditions, wet conditions, or just wayward kicking, but Orroroo on the road, 7-16-58 over Broughton-Mundura, 5-11-41. Lots more behinds than goals in that one.
Yeah, it was down at Port Broughton, so it was that oval is usually not too bad if it's windy, but there may have been a bit of rain in the last quarter there too, I reckon, which would have not helped matters much. But Broughton-Mundura would be reasonably happy with that effort. But again, Orroroo, they just needed the 2 points, and they got that even with their wayward kicking. So that pretty much with the loss, Crystal Brook's loss, it probably settles the top two now. You would think with only about three games left. It's certainly going to be an interesting final series now that with those sides coming up together, like with Broughton Mundura starting to get players back, and they've still got a few injuries too. So that'll sort of work itself out as we get towards the finals.
Yeah, the ladder is looking interesting. 13 rounds down, 3 rounds to go. BMW 11-2, Orroroo 10-3 with the better percentage, so they would have to be a chance to jump up to top if they can make up that game. Crystal Brook next at 8-5, and then Broughton Mundura at 7-6. So that entire top 4 is very, very tight. Very keen to see how these last 3 rounds go. It all kicks off again tomorrow, and there are some very intriguing matchups. Let's start out with the Magpies. Jamestown-Peterborough are hosting Southern Flinders, and the Tigers are coming hot off that win, but you'd have to think that this is probably Jamestown-Peterborough's best chance for the year to get a win on the board.
Without a doubt, it's on their home ground, and they will certainly bring the best effort they've got with the players available. So you would think that Southern Flinders will be quite confident after their effort against Crystal Brook last week. Matt Spenceley, Zeke Kay, Shane Ballantyne were all there, in their best players for them, and Scott Coombe is playing pretty consistent for them too. Whereas Jamestown-Peterborough, Nick Wynn is having to play in the centre now. He's performing pretty well for them, along with Brock Grayson and Henry Moore in the ruck. So, yeah, probably you would think Southern Flinders. 17-point
margin last time they met in a Jamestown-Peterborough home game. Southern Flinders, that was winning by 17, and last time they met at Laura Oval for a Southern Flinders home game, it was a 57-point margin, so we'll see what the home ground advantage does for the Magpies, but definitely a good chance for them to get one on the board before the season's over. Let's get to these next 2 matchups. These are all sorts of intriguing, and they are going to shape the way the ladder looks at the end of the year. Crystal Brook looking to bounce back this weekend with Will Coombe back in the side. They're hosting Broughton Mundura in a very, very important game for their top 2 hopes.
Well, the last time these two played down at Broughton, that was a late game where it wasn't a late game, but it was changed around so that the B grade played second and the A grade played first. But it certainly Broughton Mundura thrived under those conditions, and they will come up to Crystal Brook tomorrow. Not at full strength, but they've still got a side that it'll cause a pretty interesting game, I reckon. But at Crystal Brook, on their home ground, with, as you've already said, Will Coombe coming back. Jackson Richmond is in good form for them. Luke Capitola, the experienced player, still giving a good effort in the centre or on a half-forward flank for them. And Leo Coates is playing pretty well, so it'll be interesting. Maybe Crystal Brook, but they'll have to lift. A lot of players will need to lift after last week's effort.
All right, and our last game of the round is a top-of-the-table clash, BMW and Orroroo. It's an Orroroo home game. BMW have won both of the meetings between these two powerhouses throughout this season, but by very slim margins. 14 points the first time they met, 8 points last time they met. Do you reckon Orroroo can get on top in this one on their home deck?
Well, certainly they play their home ground pretty well, and it used to be that we said, like, if you're playing Orroroo up there, well, that was a bit like playing Geelong on their home ground. So I think it'll be, again, this is maybe a precursor for the qualifying final where you reckon these two sides might meet there. And BMW, yeah, they're going along pretty nicely. Got a couple back, and I don't know that they are at full strength yet. I think there was still a couple out last week. But Cody Wolford, Tom Drew, Ollie Smart are all playing pretty good footy. And their coach, Alec Kanga, he leads by example in the centre there. So Orroroo will need to have the services of Aidan Lee in the ruck. He probably will win that. And that may put the pressure on the BMW on ballers to be able to negate the advantage that could be created there. But Darren Hughes, Dylan Fowles are all in pretty good form for Orroroo. Look, I think it may be BMW, but at this stage, it looks as though they may be firming it as favourites for the flag this year.
Going to be a great game either way. Just before we wrap up, Spud, it's interesting to see a potential grand final preview so close to the final series, and the same sort of things happening in a couple of the netball leagues I've been looking at, and I asked the same question to those netball correspondents. I'm interested to get your thoughts. Top two clash like this, so close to finals. Do you go all out and try and win this clash at all costs, or do you want to keep a trick or two up your sleeve in case you do have to meet in finals and maybe you don't quite want to show your hand? I know that the ladder's so tight here that you probably don't want to give it away, but it's a tricky balancing act.
Yeah, look, that's a very good comment there, because Orroroo will lift in the finals. So even if BMW were to beat them tomorrow, it doesn't really make, I don't think, makes a lot of a dent in Orroroo's confidence, because as we saw last year, they only just sort of scraped in. When I say just scraped in, they were in the four, had to come from fourth, and they did that and finished up winning the premiership, beating BMW in the grand final. So I just don't think that one will make much difference. And we probably should mention, like, Crystal Brook, Broughton, Mundura, that's probably going to be your elimination final in the finals too. So yes, a really interesting round this week. But I don't think it makes a lot of difference as to who wins that. You sort of, it'll be on who they've got available in the finals and how they perform on the day.
Yep, that's right. The mind games might play a part, but the physical contest is certainly where the game is won and lost, and where premierships are won and lost as well. Huge weekend ahead in Northern Areas footy. Good luck to everyone taking the field tomorrow. Spud, enjoy all the action. We'll catch up with you again next Friday. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Dan. We'll catch you next week.